الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطاهرين واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين. Today we are going to discuss about the shakiyat, the rules about the doubt in Salat. Doubts are classified into three types, and the total, all the three types together, totals up to be 23. The first type of doubt has 8 situations, and the second one has 6 situations, and the third one has 9 situations in it. So that totals up to be 23. So there are doubts which we are supposed to, which makes the salat batil. That means as soon as you have this doubt, obviously you have a right to think for a few seconds. If you can remove the doubt and come to yaqeen and certitude, then you will move forward. But if your doubt remains, then it's called a doubt, so it will be classified as a doubt, and the salat will become batil in those 8 situations. And the second category is where the doubt has to be ignored. If it happens, just ignore it, move forward. We'll come to those examples. And the third one, where the doubt is considered to be correct, is the doubt 9 situations where there are specific procedures that need to be followed for in those 9 situations. So let's first discuss the first of the 3 types of doubts in the Sharia. First type is which makes the salat batil, and those are 8 situations. So let's discuss those 8 situations today. The first one is doubt the doubt happening in 2 rakat prayers about the number of the rakats. This is we are talking about the first type of doubts. This is going to make the salat batil. All these will make the salat batil. The second one, a doubt happening in a 3 rak'at prayer, which is obviously Maghrib. And example of this one is the Fajr. So the 3 rakat prayers, if you have a doubt about the number of the rak'ats, the ruling is clear, the salat is batil. So you just have to start from the scratch. Obviously, I already said you'll think for a few seconds. If you can convert your doubt into yaqeen and certitude, fine, go ahead with your yaqeen. If you cannot convert your doubt into yaqeen and your shak and doubt survives, then it's classified as a doubt. The salat is batil. So, number 3. Yes.
Shak is 50-50, like if you're not sure, or
Yeah, shak means 50-50.
so you're not sure which way. But if you're 60%,
Then you will continue because it's not shak. Now, the thing is that remember I told in the previous class that we our Islam, walaikum assalam, of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, we are proud that everything of our faith is based on yaqeen regarding the usuluddin, the roots of the religion, that means the beliefs, or the furuddin, the branches of the religion. So everything is based on yaqeen and certitude. So what is happening in this case when you have 60-40, 70-30, so this is not called shak. Now we will move forward. Why we move forward? Because we will continue to have, we have the previous yaqeen that you are in whatever rakat you are. Now 70-30 happens. So one side is waham, the other side is dhan. So this is not going to disturb your previous yaqeen. You will continue with what you had in your mind earlier, and that is not going to disturb you. So you will, with the 60-40 or 70-30 or 80-20, you will continue with your prayers. If you have 50-50, that's where you need to think for a few seconds. If you can convert it into yaqeen, good. Otherwise, your salat will become batil. Third of all is where in a 4 rakat prayer, a doubt happening in a 4 rakat prayer, about whether it's first rak'at or more. So again, the doubt comes back to the first 2 rak'ats, first or more. So this doubt is also batil. Any doubt between the first and second rakat is batil. Basically, this is something you need to keep in mind. Any shak happening about first or second rakat is going to destroy the prayers. For first two rakats, if you don't remember, or a 2 rakat prayers, you don't remember the rakats, this is basically too bad. It's not going to be tolerated. The salat is batil. Number 4. Shak happening in a 4 rakat prayer rakat prayers about 2 or more, whether it's second rakat or more. Before the second sajda of the second rakat. So what it means is that if you have a shak in a 4 rakat prayers like Zohar or Asr or Isha, and the shak is about whether it is the second rakat or more than second, and this shak is happening before the second sajda of the second rakat, What's the difference between before the second sajda or after the second sajda? Well, if your shak happens after the second sajda, then your second rakat is finished. Isn't it right? Second rakat finishes when you are done with the second sajda. So if your shak happens before the second sajda, this is problematic because your salat will become batil. If your shak happens after the second sajda, after you are done with the second sajda, your second rakat is already completed. Now you have to start the third one. Your salat will not be batil if you have shak after the second sajda of the second rakat. So remember that point.
What about during the second sajda?
No, that's still this will be batil.
That makes it batil still.
Correct.
So until you come up from the second sajda.
Yes, until you come up from the second sajda.
Do you have a shak between second and third after you are done with the second sajda?
Salat will not be batil. No,
Second.
if you have the doubt after you are done with the second rakat, after you are done from the second, that means you already sat in the qu'ud, in the sitting position from the second sajda of the second rakat. So now you have doubt.
Between second and third.
Now you have doubt whether it's the second rakat or third rakat. Your salat is not batil. There's separate ruling which will come here. Those doubts which are sahih.
What to do with them?
What to do with them? There's a solution.
What about like if the imam then makes a mistake or he forgets and the people are praying behind him?
We are coming to that point. We are coming to that point. This is one of those places where, we are coming to that point. Probably tonight, if we can end this chart, inshallah, we can come to that point. So this is number 4. Now let's go to number 5. Shak happening in a 4 rak'at prayer between the shak is happening that whether or not you are in the second rak'at or more. Let me rephrase it. Like second rakat or let me rephrase it. Just a minute. Whether you are in the second rakat or the 5th rakat. Or you are in the second or more than 5th rakat. So you are in a 4 rakat prayer, and that's where the doubt happens about either. So that you are doubting that you are in the second rakat or you are in the 5th rakat right now. Or you are doubting you are in the second rakat or more than 5th, the 6th rakat. Greater than 5 means 6th rakat or 7th rakat. We don't have a 5 rakat prayers. We don't have a 6 rakat prayers or 7. But there are people who end up having this kind of shak. Okay, so there is already a solution for those situations. And if you have this kind of shak, obviously your salat is batil. Now number 6. Number 6 is the situation where you have a shak in a 4 rakat prayer about whether you are in third rak'at or sixth or whether you are in third rak'at or more than 6, 7th rakat, 8th rakat. If you have this kind of doubt in a 4 rakat prayer that whether you are in the 3rd rakat right now or you are in the 6th rakat or you are in the 3rd rakat or 7th rakat, 3rd rakat or 8th rakat, whatever. You don't have 6 rakat prayers or 7 or 8 again, but this is, some people have these kinds of doubts. If they have these kinds of doubts, their salat is batil. 7th of all, if you have a doubt in a 4 rakat prayer, and the doubt is whether you are in the 4th rakat or the 6th rakat. Or you have a doubt that whether you are in the 4th rakat or more than 6. That means 7th rakat or 8th rakat. This is also batil. If someone has this type of doubt, this is also going to make the salat batil. And the 8th situation where salat is batil is where a person does not remember which rakat he is praying. If you don't remember what rakat it is it first, is it second, is it third, is it fourth, what rakat you don't remember at all?
So this is what applies to
all the prayers. If you don't remember which rakat you are in, your salat is batil. So these are the 8 situations. We have 3 aqsam, 3 types of shak. Now one is this batil, and these are 8 situations where shak will make the salat batil. Now we have some rulings which are important to remember. The first thing is what we call in our fiqh qa'idatu tajawuz al-mahal. That means the law of passing that segment. What does it mean? This law is a law that applies everywhere in the salat. So if you are in one segment of the prayers, for example, standing, you are reciting the tilawat, hamd and the surah. This is the segment of qiyam, standing. Qiyam means standing. Then you move to the second segment, which is ruku. Then from ruku, you again raise your head up and start standing again. This is called qiyam. That's the segment number 3. Then you go to the sajda, That's another segment of the prayers. Then you sit between the two sajdas. Then you again do second sajda. Then you again stand up. So these are all segments. So if you go past one segment and you entered into the next segment, and then you have a doubt about the previous segment, you have to ignore it. Okay? So this is the place, the first place where we need to ignore our doubt is where the law of tajawuz al-mahal, passing that segment, applies. For example, I give you the example, you go to ruku. When you went to the ruku, you have the doubt whether I recited the Fatiha or not. For example, or whether I recited the next surah after Fatiha or not, or whether I recited Fatiha correctly or not, or whether I recited the next surah correctly or not. So now you are doubting about the previous segment, which was Qiyam, while you have already passed that previous segment of Qiyam and standing, and now you entered into the next segment, which is Ruku. So when you reach the next segment, next mahal and segment Ruku, and doubting about the previous segment, your responsibility is to ignore this doubt. Okay? So adamul i'tina, you don't have to pay attention to this doubt, just ignore it and move forward. That means continue your ruku. Ignore the doubt, continue your ruku. Or if you are after ruku, you stand up and then you doubt, did I say Subhana Rabbiyal Azim wa bihamdih or not? Or did I say correctly or not? Now you are already standing. You already left the stage of ruku and you are in the qiyam after ruku. So ignore that doubt. You are in the sajda and you doubt whether I said the zikr of ruku correctly or not. Just ignore it. You are already in sajda. If you are in sajda and you have a shak whether I said the zikr of ruku sajda correctly or not, then repeat it. So you have yaqeen. But if you have crossed that stage and went into the next stage, then you have to ignore the doubt. Is that clear?
So each of the sajdas are separate.
Yeah, each of the sajda is separate. For example, after one sajda you sit and then you doubt, did I say the zikr of sajda correctly or not? You cannot go to the sajda and do the zikr again. You have to ignore it. You are already past that stage. You are now sitting. If you were in the first sajda, you should have repeated it. So this is qa'idatu tajawuzil mahal. That's the first place where we have to ignore our doubt. Adamul i'tina, adamut tawajjuh. The second place where we have to ignore our doubt is, the second place is where, this part of number 2. The second place where we have to ignore our doubt is after the taslim, the last salam of the prayers. If you have doubt about your prayers after the taslim, the last salam, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's mustahab to say assalamu alayka ayyuhan nabiyyu wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and then it's we say assalamu alayna wa ala ibadillah as-salihin. This is either this is it's ihtiyat wujubi, like in Farsi we say ihtiyat wajib. Ihtiyat wujubi to say either Assalamu alayna wa ala ibadillah as-salihin or Assalamu alaykum. One of the two is obligatory precaution. Ihtiyat wujubi to say one of the two. Both are not wajib. So assalamu alayk, either you say assalamu alayna wa ala ibadillahi salihin, that's ihtiyat wujubi or ihtiyat wajib, or assalamu alaykum. Now we say wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, that's another added mustahab. So salam, taslim are three sentences. Assalamu alayna, assalamu alayka ayyuhan nabi wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, this is mustahab. The second two sentences, it's ihtiyat wujubi to choose between one of the two. But you can say all the three, that's okay. Is that clear? So, but if somebody just says assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, his salat is correct because he did the wajib stuff. Wajib is to say assalamu alaykum. The Sunni brothers, they turn their face like this and they assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullah, assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullah. So the problem with this issue is that before you are not done with the salat yet. Your salat ends after the salam. Before the salam is completed, your salat is not finished yet. Before your salat will be completed after you say assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh, not before it. The problem with what they do is that before they finish the salat, they turn their face away from the qibla. That's where the salat becomes batil. You are intentionally amdan turning your inhiraf from qibla, turning your face away from the qibla towards 45 degrees right, assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullah, and then 45 degrees left inhiraf from the qibla, assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullah. After you are done with the assalamu alaykum, then the salat ends. Isn't that right?
But we think that when we do that, I think that's how we end the prayer.
Yeah, you end the prayers, and before, so you end the prayer after that. That's what we are saying. This is what we say to the Sunni brothers, that you end the prayers after your salam, towards the right and the left. When you say the salam to right and left and you are done, then your salat ends. Isn't that right? So you turn your face intentionally away from the qibla before ending your prayers, which makes the salat batil. That's our point.
So if you do assalamu alaikum rahmatullah and then you can do more assalamu alaikum left and right, that would be fine.
That will not make the salat batil. That will not make the salat batil. Yeah, now, but now the second, if you still say it, the second objection will be that we will say something if it's the sunnat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If the Prophet said, if it is proven from the sunnat of the Prophet, then we will say. Otherwise, we cannot even say after the salat. So Prophet did not say it like this, turning his face 45 degrees and then say assalamu alaikum rahmatullah, and then turning his face like this, assalamu alaikum. Prophet did not say that. That's our point. That's the second point. Obviously, they have their own narrations. They have their own narrations from their ashab, and they consider it to be authentic, which we don't consider it to be authentic. But the first point is very, very logical, that you are turning your face away in hiraf from the qibla, away from the qibla direction before the salat ends. That's the makes the salat batil. So after the taslim, if you have the doubt, our ruling is, the hukum is to ignore it. After your taslim, the salat ends. So after you are done with the salat, now you have a doubt about your previous action, you have to ignore it. If you have a doubt within the ibadat, then we pay attention to that doubt. But if you have a doubt after the end of the ibadat, you don't pay attention to that doubt. The ibadat has already ended when you say the last taslim, salam. The third place where we need to ignore our down is after the end of the salat time. That means when salat becomes qada. After the salat ends, now, for example, right now, if I have shak, did I pray my fajr prayers? The time of fajr has already expired. It's qada. So if you have doubt about a salat whose time has already ended, This shak, you just ignore it. If I have doubt right now, did I pray my fajr or not? I should ignore this doubt because the time has already expired. If I was within the time of fajr and I have doubt, the ruling says do it, do your salat, because the time is still remaining. But now if I have doubt after the salat has become qada and the end salat time has ended, I just have to ignore this doubt.
Okay, if I finish the salat, after that, I think I do, for example, 3 or 4. I don't know. I don't be sure. I do 3 or 4 after end of the salat, after the sleep.
Yeah, just ignore it. لا تعتني بهذا الشك. صلاتك صحيحة.
Also, if I think I pray 2 or 4.
Yeah, any doubt after the end of salat, just ignore it. No, that's during the salat. And we are reaching that point here. Shukuk as-sahiha. Those doubts which are correct, there are 9. We are about to study that inshallah in the next class. So that's where it is. If you have doubt in some situations during the salat, then we have sajdatay as-sahab. But he's talking about after the salat. After the salat he has doubt, there is no shak. No.
Almost time I pray again, but my niyyah is qada'i ma fi dhimma.
Oh, ma fi dhimma, yes, you can do that. But it's not wajib on you because your shak happened ba'da salat. So it's not wajib on you to have to pray. Ma fi dhimma, whatever is on your neck should be counted. You can do that, yeah, that's okay, but it's not wajib. Because your shak happened after the end of the salat time. About whether you prayed or not, or even about the rakats that you are talking about. You just have to ignore it. If you have yaqeen, then you will follow your yaqeen.
Yeah, of course.
But if you have shak, just ignore it.
The one about salat time,
Hmm.
it's only about you have a doubt whether you prayed or not, right?
Yeah. But even if you have doubt about, did I say the dhikr of ruku, subhana rabbil azim wa bihamdi or not? Now you are doubting after tajawuzul mahal. It's the end, salat has already ended.
But that's already covered by 1 or 2.
Yeah, that's already covered by 1. And also the 2. Yeah,
So here, the only thing that's new is that if you doubt whether you prayed or not.
correct.
If you have doubt that you prayed or not, right? And then you come to the conclusion that you didn't pray.
Mm-hmm. So that conclusion means now you have yaqeen and certitude, isn't it right? You no longer have the doubt. You thought for a few seconds, now you have yaqeen and certainty that you did not pray. Fine, yaqeen, we need to follow our yaqeen and certainty. So we were talking about the doubt that we have to ignore, but if you end up having yaqeen, you will follow your yaqeen. The 4th place where we have to ignore our doubts is the doubts of kasiru shak, a person who is oft doubting. A person who is oft doubting, kasiru shak. Kasiru shak person's ruling says he is not supposed to pay attention to his shak. Just ignore it and move forward. Now, what's the definition of a kasiru shak in the fiqh? Here is the definition. If you end up in shak and doubt 3 times in a row in one salat, or in 3 consecutive salats. For example, you have one shak, one doubt in Fajr, then you have one doubt in Dhuhr, and you have one doubt in Asr. So if you have 3 consecutive Salat that you prayed, Fajr, Dhuhr and Asr, in each of them you have one doubt. So you are a Kathir Shak. Or if you have Shak 3 times in a row in one Salat, you're praying Salat al-Fajr or Dhuhr or Asr or any prayer, and you have 3 Shak happening in one prayers, you are Kathir Shak. So the ruling of Kathir Shak is to just ignore your Shak, move forward. In one prayer, like for example, you're praying Dhuhr and you have 3 times you are doubting about something. Yeah, that's called in a row. That means even in one Salat, you had one Shak, then you without having another Salat coming, in the same Salat you end up having a second doubt. Correct, but it's the same prayers. Yeah. Now the 5th place where we need to ignore our doubt is the situation when Imam of the prayers of the Jama'at, congregational prayers, has yaqeen, certainty, but the ma'moom, means the person who is praying behind the Imam is called ma'moom, has shak, doubt. Or the opposite, the ma'moom means the person praying behind the Imam, ma'moom has yaqeen and the Imam has shak. In both the situations we have to ignore the shak and move forward. For example, the Imam of Jama'at has yaqeen that he recited the tashahhud in the 2nd rakat, and now he wants to stand up for the 3rd rakat in Dhuhr. Now one of the ma'mumeen, one of the people praying behind him, he keeps on sitting and he says, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. He started to read the tashahhud. So he wants to remind the Imam that we need to read the tashahhud. One of the ma'mumeen, one of the persons praying behind the Imam, starts reading Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan, the zikr of tashahhud. So he wants to remind the Imam that sit down, don't stand up for the 3rd rakat and read the tashahhud. So the ma'mum is, now the ruling says, if the Imam has yaqeen, he will continue to stand up. This will show that he has yaqeen. If he had doubt, he would be, doubtful, and it will show from his action. But if he has yaqeen, he will continue to stand up. So now when the Imam continues to stand up, and it shows that he has yaqeen. When he has yaqeen, Ma'mun should ignore his doubt and should also stand up with the Imam. Is that clear? Likewise, if the Ma'mum, the person praying behind the Imam, has yaqeen and Imam has the doubt, so Imam has to follow the Ma'mum in this matter. For example, in the same example, Imam of the Jama'at thought that he had recited the tashahhud in the 2nd rakat of Dhuhr, so he was standing up. One of the Ma'mumeen, one of the person praying behind him, raises his voice, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu. He keeps on sitting and he starts reading the tashahhud to remind the Imam. Now Imam recalls, no, I didn't read the tashahhud. So Imam sits down to read the tashahhud. Because the Ma'mum has yaqeen, which proves from our action and the action of the Imam, because Imam, if he had yaqeen, he would continue to stand up. He did not have yaqeen, that's why he sat down. So he relies on the yaqeen of the Ma'mum. So the Imam, if he has yaqeen, Ma'mum should ignore his shak and doubt and rely on the yaqeen of the Imam. If the Imam does not have yaqeen, the Ma'mum has yaqeen, then the imam should ignore his shak and rely on the yaqeen of the mamum. So whosoever has yaqeen, the other person will rely on his yaqeen. Whether imam has yaqeen, mamumeen have the doubt, mamum should rely on the yaqeen of the imam. Or the mamum has yaqeen and imam has the shak, then imam should rely over the yaqeen of the mamum. Is that clear? Then both will continue on their own salat. Yeah, the mamoon will continue doing tashahhud, imam will continue standing up. Then we will find out which category of the shak is falling. Is this falling in one of these categories where shak needs to be ignored, 6 situations, or one of these categories where shak makes the salat batil, 8 situations, or one of these categories where shak is correct, which we will learn. We'll judge, apply the ruling accordingly. So this is number 5. And the last thing before the end of today's class, last shak that we need to ignore is the shak in the number 5. Let me write down number Let me write down number 6 here. Doubts happening in a mustahab prayers. Doubt happening in the mustahab prayers, just ignore the doubt. If you are doubtful in the number of rakats, go for the lesser rakat. If you have doubt whether mustahab prayers is always 2 rakats. Mustahab prayers are always 2 rakats, except for Salatul Witr, which is in the Salatul Layl, the Al-Wutaira, the Witr, which is 1 rakat. All the rest of the mustahab prayers are 2 rakats. And likewise the witr of Isha is also 1 rakat. We pray 2 rakats because we pray it in the sitting position. Otherwise, originally the nafila of Isha, the mustahab prayers of Isha after Isha is 1 rakat prayers that you pray in the standing position. But we do pray it in the sitting position. That's why the standing prayers, when you do it in the sitting position, it becomes double. So that's why in the sitting position we pray it as 2 rakats. Otherwise, originally the nafila of Isha, the mustahab prayers of after Isha is only 1 rakat. So that's also 1 rakat. So rarely we have a 1 rakat prayers or Salatul Ihtiyat, which is also recited, but that's not mustahab, that's wajib to do. So mustahab prayers, almost all of them are, except a couple of them, almost all the rest are 2 rakat prayers. So if you are doubtful in your mustahab prayers, just ignore your doubt. If you are in the whether I recited my whatever shak, just ignore it. Or if you are doubtful about the number of rakats, go for the lesser number. For example, you are doubtful whether I am the first rakat or the second rakat, or the second rakat or the third rakat. Go for the second rakat. If you have doubt between first and the second, go for the first rakat. Consider this is your first rakat, read 1 more rakat. If you have doubt about is it second rakat of mine or third rakat of mine, go for the second rakat and just end your prayers. Is that clear? You always go for the lesser rakat. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina wa nabiyyina Muhammadin wa alihi at-tahirin.